Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Catch-Ups with Bella. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to chat with you. And today I actually have a coffee. So this is my maple matcha. It's just organic whole milk with maple syrup and matcha powder. And it's so good. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you guys, but it has been a week for me, okay? I have been very stressed lately, feeling a little bit of burnout, feeling a little bit self-conscious lately. So I'm so excited to talk about today's topic with you guys, and that is finding balance through the chaos in your life. So grab your drink, get comfortable, and let's catch up. Finding balance through a chaotic life is very hard, especially when everybody on the internet is telling you you need to romanticize your life, you need to make all this time for your hobbies, you need to be in your soft girl era, but you also need to be in your hustling girl era. There's a lot going on, there's a lot to unpack, and there's a lot to just take in and try to compress into your own life. So excited to give you guys some of my best habits for staying balanced, romanticizing your life, just keeping it simple, because trust me, sometimes life gets chaotic and balance is a very broad term and it's so unbelievably different for everybody, and everybody's lives looks so unbelievably different, and we're all going through different things, we're all different ages, we're all experiencing things. Some of us have partners, some of us don't, some of us work jobs, some of us don't. Right, so there are so many things to juggle and there are so many things to balance, and depending on where you are in between these things, your balance is going to look really different. This is one of the best matcha lattes I've ever made in my life, by the way. So I'm going to start by sharing what balance looks like for me. So for me, something that really helped me understand balance was that there are going to be periods in your life when you're not balanced. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but there are going to be times in your life when you are going to have to dedicate more work towards something else than, something that maybe you would want to do, right? So an example of this is if you are in high school and it's your last year and you're taking really difficult courses, sometimes you're going to need to go home and study more than going to the gym for 2 hours, right? Sometimes you're going to need to put more energy and focus into your job than going out with friends on the weekend. So honestly, this whole idea of balance kind of is confusing, because you're told that if you are focusing way more on one thing than another thing, then you're not balanced. And I just want to start by clarifying that that is not at all true, in my opinion. And there are going to be times in your life that you are literally just going to need to dedicate a lot more time and a lot more energy to one thing. And sometimes that just means that we cut down on other things. So I think it's just so important to recognize that and then make space for that and not make yourself feel guilty for that or feel bad for that, because you guys do not need to feel bad for, sometimes telling your friends, listen, I'm really sorry, I can't go out. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't go with your friends. It just means sometimes you can't afford to do it every weekend. Sometimes you can't afford to do it every week. Priorities shift and life changes, and depending on what season you're in your life, certain things are going to get a lot more difficult and certain things are going to just have to kind of dial down on. And this really screwed me up for the first couple years of my journey, because I really wanted to make everything even and everything perfect, and I just couldn't do that anymore. I was getting to the point when things were getting busy and my life was getting really exciting and it was getting full of new things, and I didn't know how to balance it all, and it all just kind of came crashing down on me, and I just fell into a spiral, and it got really unhealthy and it got really bad for me. I think another tip that I really want to give for this video is that quality time over quantity time, okay? So I just really want to point out that balance to me means quality, right? If you are balancing things in your life, that means you have a lot on your plate. If you have tons of things to juggle, and by the way, guys, if you have a lot to juggle right now, that is so normal and that is so okay and realistic. And if you are tired and you are stressed and you are burnt out, we're here together, okay? Hold my hand. We are here together. We are working through it together. And this is really why I made this channel, so we could support each other, we could give each other tips, we could give each other tricks to learn and help each other. So, yeah, quality time is so important. So, even if you're at the end of your day and you have 20 minutes left before you need to go to bed and you're eating dinner with your family, just focus on eating dinner with your family, right? I think we get stressed because we start pulling all our energy into one thing, but we still have lots of other things to take care of, right? So it's so important to pour love into your relationships and make sure you're prioritizing time with the Lord. It's so important to make sure that you are putting effort into your job and your school and all these things. And that doesn't mean hours. Like, it doesn't mean you sit down and you spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing one of those things. It just means when you are studying your Bible, you are studying your Bible. When you are eating dinner with your family, your phone is off, you're asking your family, how was your day? Like, you're talking about life, you're talking about whatever you guys talk about when you eat dinner. You're giving your full attention to your family. When you're working and you genuinely need to sit down and do deep work, you're turning the TV off, you're silencing your phone, you're doing your deep work. And I think this approach is so good, because instead, I feel like people get it mixed up with balance, and then it becomes like, okay, 1 hour a day here, 1 hour a day here, 1 hour a day here. Because, like, you're thinking about it as in, like, equal amounts, but you physically cannot give an equal amount of time or attention to every different category in your life. So just making sure that the quality stays the same. And sometimes means you spend less time with certain people, but you give them more energy. Or, you know, you spend more time on this, but for a shorter duration of time. So it's super duper important to make that a priority and make that a boundary for yourself, and just start looking at it in a more realistic, quality over quantity way. And it's also important to understand that balance doesn't mean you giving all your attention and energy to everybody else. It also means making sure that you are giving that to yourself too, right? And honestly, this kind of got confusing for me because everyone was talking about, like, you need to prioritize your self-care and your hobbies. I genuinely can't do that every day, and sometimes I don't want to do that every day, if I am being completely honest with you guys. So instead of looking at balance in days, I try to stretch it out and look at it in a week, in 2 weeks, whatever you can do, right? And this just made it so much less stressful, because then it wasn't like, okay, in one day I have to do this and this and this and this and this. It was like, okay, I'm going to focus on spending at least 1 hour of pure quality time with my family. I'm going to focus on at least spending, half a day on my self-care routine. I'm still going to make sure I'm working out every day of the week for at least half an hour. Spreading it out into a week and understanding that balance doesn't have to be all in one day is so important. And that just helped me so much, was actually just looking at it in a week and then placing everything accordingly, because as I said before, quality time over quantity time is important, and at the end of the day, sometimes you just don't have a lot of quality energy to give anymore, and that is totally fine. Like, I understand that, and you guys need to just accept that and understand that, like, after a long day, especially in high school, like, we're still developing, we're still growing, And having a lot on our plates is hard. So if you need to come into your room and you need to just watch a show for 40 minutes and then go back out and socialize and be good, that is fine. That can be what your balance looks like. So it's really just finding the borderline between giving enough to the external factors, but also giving enough to you and what you need internally. So when it comes to like hobbies and stuff for me, if I spend at least half an hour to an hour a week on my hobby, like whether I do a nice little sketch, I do a painting, I write some poetry, whatever it is, right? I try to dedicate at least an hour. Like for me, that's enough time a week to like debrief and reset, because sometimes there are just days that I don't want to draw. I don't really want to like get in a creative mindset, but that is genuinely what works for me. And so I kind of like to spread that out sometimes, right? Sometimes I'll do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Doesn't matter. So you guys really just have to figure out a plan that works for you when it comes to balance. So my last little piece of advice is actually going to be to try to stay off social media for this kind of context, just because it can be really stressful watching other people's routines and how they set up their lives. And while it can be inspirational and it can be very helpful, don't get me wrong, when you're trying to figure things out for yourself, it can kind of make you feel bad about your own life. But I need you guys to really understand that because we are all so different and we're all going through different things, the quality time you spend with your family is going to be different than mine. The quality time you spend studying is going to be different than mine. My workout routine and my schedule is going to be different than yours, right? What I would do, look at your life and the factors of your own life first, and then see where you can fit things in and see where you have time to readjust or remake or redo a routine to help better fit a balanced lifestyle. And for romanticizing your life, I think this doesn't have to be super difficult, and I really just wanted to bring this up because if you are living a chaotic lifestyle, it is so hard to stop and just look at the beautiful moments in life. And I think romanticizing really just allows you to be grateful for where you are and where you're at currently. And it just, whenever I romanticize my life, it really just brings me back into my body, and it just makes me so grateful for where I am right now, what I'm doing, just the stillness of life. The priorities are kind of just, we're chilling, right? We're chilling. And I found that the best ways that I romanticize my life is when I am just taking the time for myself and when I'm not distracted, when there are literally no distractions. So I'll give you guys a really good example. So this morning, the day that I'm filming this is Saturday. So today I went outside and I did my workout while the sun was coming up. And I, literally, it was 5 a.m. in the morning, so nobody was awake. My neighborhood was dead quiet, and I was the only one in the house who was up. I brought my weights outside. I set up my little area, and I just did my workout as the sun was coming up, and that was so unbelievably fulfilling to me. It got my day started perfectly. It was just so calming. I was listening to the birds and I was doing my thing. And that to me is romanticizing your life, because it's the things that we take for granted, but they're also the things that can fulfill us the most, right? So, I could have done my workout inside. I could have just put my headphones on and put my head down and completely ignored the sunrise. But I decided, you know what? No, we're going to go outside. We're going to do my workout out there. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be cute. We're going to make it aesthetic. I put on a cute workout outfit. That is romanticizing your life. It does not have to be difficult. It does not have to be costly at all. It can literally just be you put on a cute outfit and you go for a walk. That's all you have to do. It's just really important to bring yourself back into those little moments and remind yourself that life is beautiful right now, and you kind of do have to force yourself to look for the beautiful moments in life. And the more you get used to doing that, the less chaotic everything becomes and the more relaxing life slowly can get. So, yeah. I really hope that these tips helped you guys, and let me know what you want to see more of in the comments and rate your week on a scale of 1 to 10 for me. I really want to hear how you guys are doing and how you guys are managing your own lives and your stress and all the things. So, yeah, and the emoji of the week is going to be a flower. Let's do a flower emoji. Whatever flower emoji you guys want to do. Comment down a flower emoji if you have stayed this far to let me know you are a real one. You're in here. You're locked in. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much for catching up with me. I love you all so much. Bye!